Not bad, eh?
Mean catch,
Are we strong enough? Can we make the cut? We can do anything!
Stop here! What a super-duper try! Turn over another chapter of this book. It's an absolute thriller. Try and stop this bloke!
Who will have the belief to win? Four Nations, England, PNG and Kiwis Australia. Saturday live, Sky Sport 2.
Reflects on them a while.
If the haka was a sign of things to come in the match for the Kiwis, it would start slow but finish strong.
Well, if that doesn't get the blood boiling, nothing will.
Coach David Kidwell demanded more from his players this week, but not at the expense of discipline. The penalty count going against the junior Kiwis, and it spiced up the match.
You did suggest in the build-up there might be a little bit of argy, so there's the first bit of argy. Oh, there's a little bit of feeling in this one.
It didn't take long for the visitors to attack left, and the defence was soft.
Cut out ball, look out, here they come now. Jones discover. He will find Oldfield. Oldfield's going to back himself, will he? Oldfield still!
Once again, the whistleblower wasn't favouring the men in black.
And a strip has been called.
The Aussies responded with more backline brilliance.
Williams, he finds Josh Jackson. Jackson's still going. Jackson just cut through them, and the Kangaroos are in again. Strikes it sweetly. 10-0.
Long minutes in this game because I thought if they could get the speed of the game up, they'd really cause some problems. And he came on early in the, I think, 20-minute mark you mentioned, and he just killed it from there on in. He doesn't play a traditional hooker's role in terms of the dish and the pass and what have you. He takes it when it's on, when the opportunity's on. I reckon you can even play him long minutes and have him at lock if you can cover it defensively and find somewhere in the line for him. But he certainly sparked most of the good things that needed to be sparked.
Do you think Matthew Elliott will groom him as a full-time position for that hooker's role, do you think, or no? Will that be something for him, or
I don't think he's big enough to play anywhere else apart from hooker or half.
He'll be a backup
for
to Kevin Kingston, though.
But, and he'll physically develop as well. I mean, Masadi Yusefa can come on leaps and bounds this year at Penrith and got a lot more game time as well. So, yeah, I'm sure that he will get some time at some stage. How early, I'm not too sure.
That might be his role, just come on and just lift the tempo. Like you've seen it yesterday with the junior Kiwis. That's all he had to do, jump out of dummy half, get the boys on the front foot.
How big a step is it for these kids to go from the 20s to NRL?
I think it's a pretty big step. Like, defensively, there's big guys. You get found out, like in the NRL. If you don't know, the structures that are in place, you're going to get caught. But, the way I think the competition's fantastic for these 20s. All of them are doing extra study or, working as well, which is a fantastic thing by the NRL to be doing with these young kids, So after the, I think the Warriors are losing a few, or, even the Dragons, a few that don't kick on and get into that top 25 squad at their particular clubs. At least they've got something behind them.
But there's pressure for you for life after footy, surely. You're 30 years of age?
31.
30 years of age. 30 years of age.
That's right, something like that.
At some stage you have to think about you have to think about life after football, don't you? Because footy's not always going to be a major part of your life, or financially, I guess, for the family, for.
Yeah, most definitely. And, things have changed a lot since I was young as well. I was straight out of school, straight into professional rugby league. So, I'm not like these kids. I didn't have the opportunity to get a degree because I was training full time. So, these kids have got a great opportunity to, as you say, set themselves up and get something behind them. So if, footy doesn't work out, which we all hope it does for them, but if it doesn't, they've got something there.
Have you thought about life after? I know you want my job because you said that's me and Rhoda.
Great, not your job, but...
Careful, girl. But have you thought about life after?
Mate, I'm starting to, starting to think about it a lot more.
Well, you're gone then. You're finished.
Yeah, well, I've got the premiership ring, so I can sit down.
Where's the ring?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't bring it in.
ring
I
on
lose them
there.
all the time. I'm hopeless with stuff like that.
So it's when Belinda's safekeeping, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
All right, let's move on, Cheryl. By the way, there's always a chance to be a hobbit in the movie. There's no movie, mate.
Excuse me.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me, little white guy.
I've been dying to use that one on you for a long, long time.
I could reach across his tail. I've got long enough arms to
Break it
get
up,
over there, mate.
break it up.
Let's go to the main event, shall we? Kiwis and the Kummels. Hurry up before I get whacked.
Four Nations test was almost a sure thing, but how hard would it be to get there was what faced the Kiwis in Rotorua. PNG looked like they'd come to play, but the opening minutes told a different story.
As the Kiwis spread the ball, Ho-Hire gets rid of one, gets rid of the ball, try time. The Kiwis are in, Sam Perrott pounces in the corner, some big contact in the lead-up, but New Zealand stick to their guns and come up with first points.
The Kiwis maintained the pressure, and in went Warriors captain Simon Mannering.
Sensing another opportunity, and here they go with Mannering. They will check the tape.
It seemed easy, and there was space in front of him. He just chanced his arm. Let's see as he reaches out. Does he get the ball down?
Well, I think they're going to pay that.
The third wasn't far behind, and at this stage, the signs for the Kummels were not looking good.
Battle stations here for the Kummels. Nightingale will set it up for Smith. As easy as you like. And Jeremy Smith just had to plant the football across the stripe.
The Kiwis were relentless in attack, putting on 22 points in just 15 minutes.
Fina dummy half. And he sets it up. That's just too easy. Jeremy Smith grabs a double and must be thinking, is this rugby league or touch?
Junior Sal found himself in the right place at the right time, pouncing on an untouched Fiend grubber.
On the last, they're lined out deep. Fiend with the kick into the end goal. Bouncing ball like a grenade. It's alive and claiming the try. Junior Sal. Well, no one could clean up. The ball seemed to elude, I reckon, at least half a dozen players, and the scoreline blows out to 26-0.
Scripting a game such as this would be like writing a novel, so take it away, Costo.
Down the track, Fiend holds it up here for Ho-Hire, and he'll score. Lance Ho-Hire goes through, and New Zealand are piling on the points in Rotorua. He'll be busy today, I get the distinct impression. Wawira Hargreaves, great ball, and scoring right under the horns. Greg Eastwood subject to confirmation.
When he stands, oh, he nearly did, but he got another hand on it. Was going to put it down one-handed, Costo.
Well, this is going to be New Zealand's 7th try. There we go. 3 letters becomes 4 points. And now Luke has a crack himself, has a second crack, and gets the reward. A reward for perseverance. Well, he was stopped momentarily and said, well, I'll have another go. Luke out of dummy half, 22-7 the dummy half runs. You can make that 23, I reckon. Here's Mannering. Sal goes through and will get there for a hat-trick. Junior Sal powering down that channel on the eastern side of the ground. Luluai, Ho-Hire, cut out ball, they're queuing up, and Perrott goes in. And the floodgates, well, they opened some time ago. There's a flood warning current, and it could get worse. Aton, fat ball, play on's the call. They keep it going, cut out pass. Yeah, the jukebox! He erupts in Rotorua. Big hits, and a try to boot, and the Kummels are on the board. And Lummy, why wouldn't you celebrate? PNG, little chip chase here and getting the bounce nicely. PNG are away, they've got back up. Here's the 5-8 for the Kummels, and Nami! Glenn Nami dummy. Looks to the heavens. Magical play. Unbelievable play. Back-to-back tries from the Colonels. My goodness, where did that come from? Feen on the receiving end, a push and shove. Last has been signalled by Cummins. And Hohai with the kick. And a try for Parrott. He soars above the pack. And Sam Parrott, a spectacular hat-trick it is. Inside the final 10 minutes of the test match, Feen holds it up for Hohai. And it goes to ground, scooped up, picked up. Kenny Dow will set up Nightingale. And the man they call Florence dots down. Took some time to get on the score sheet. But he would have fancied his chances. 33-9 the offloads, favouring the men in black. Here's Feen scheming, back for Sal. Manu! Can he go all the way? Legs pumping like pistons. And boy, oh boy, you betcha, he plants the football. And Sika Manu, with a block-busting run to the try line, helps himself as well. 76-12, and a crushing win it certainly is. The siren's about to sound here in Rotorua. Feen puts it on the carpet. It's come off a Kumul. Warira Hargreaves, the hometown boy, knocks on. Purely academic, of course. It's been well hell of a shellacking. The Kiwis carving up the Kumuls. 76-12. They have rocked home.
A test win it was, and to those doubts that thought it was a hammering and didn't want to talk about it, I think it was a test win, and that's the most important week. There was another team last night that didn't win a test, and the Kiwis did win a test in black and white. That was the most important thing. The one thing that was really noticeable in that first 20 minutes is just how crisp everything was. Passing, running, the whole 9 yards, Nathan.
Yeah, we really wanted to match their enthusiasm. Obviously, the week before, they come out really physical and, you know, really determined to try and frustrate the Aussies with their defence, and you know we had to match that last night, and I thought we did a fantastic job. We laid a great platform. We're able to build pressure by completing sets, getting to our kick, and just wore them down basically. So, which you know give us a lot more opportunity with our attacking sets too. You know, we weren't burning up energy defending like we did the week before.
I was really surprised at their lack of intensity, Papua New Guinea, at the start of the match, especially after last week you've just pointed out. I was really impressed with the way the Kiwis kept it simple and used players in space. On a lot of the clips you see there and a lot of the tries that were scored, players could have thrown a dummy and gone themselves, but they decided to use the player outside in a better position than themselves. Was that something Stephen Kearney had talked about?
We were mainly concentrating on our defence yesterday. Like we knew our attacking structures would come if we could get our defensive ones in place. And the week before, the Pommies got us a little bit around the ruck. We weren't getting the numbers in the tackle, which allowed them to get out of dummy half, and they made a few inroads. So we really worked hard on defence this week, and we knew if we could get that right, it would give us enough gas to get the shape on the edges, and like you say, have those players in the right spaces, running the right lines, and you know, doing their job for their mates.
Was there an area of the game that Stephen Kearney wasn't happy with? If you take a look at the scoreline, I mean, there wouldn't be many, I could imagine, but was there an area he expressed needed improving as you gear up to take on Australia?
Yeah, he did. You know, there was a sort of 15, 20-minute period in the middle of the second half where we weren't completing our sets, and, you know, as I said earlier on, if we do that against the Aussies, we're going to get hurt. So, you know, that's something that we're going to have to, you know, really address this week, because we've got to be constant with it. You know, we can't get sick of doing the, you know, the little things, the boring things in the game. We've got to be able to keep doing them, you know, time and time again.
One of the most noticeable things, and this is giving you a rap, and we'll give you a rap, because you're allowing Benji Marshall to create havoc, and that must be a nice feeling to know you have a huge hand in allowing the chief playmaker to do his job.
Yeah, it's great playing with Benji. Obviously, he's got all the skills in the world, and, you know, I don't know what Benji's doing half the time, but that's great, because...
Is that good, though?
Well, it is, because he's always creating things. Look, you know, he's popping out of tackles, dropping blokes underneath him, and he always seems to make the right decision with the ball as well. So, look, my job within the team is just to, you know, get the boys rolling forward, kick, defend well, and get the ball to Benji when he needs it.
Benji always seems to run right and then drop a player below him. Are you then in control of the left-hand side? Did you want to see Benji and both of you start moving left to just mix it up a little bit?
Yeah, I'd predominantly stay on the left at this stage. But But, you know, our combination together has evolved. Like, we've been together a while, even Lance and Tommy and Bully. Like, we've all been in those key positions since, you know, probably the World Cup in 2008. So we all know each other's games, and I think it helps the side. You know, when we come back into a camp like this, it doesn't take us too long to get everything flowing
Mike
again.
Stevenson said last week how much Lance O'Haya's game has evolved over the last couple of years. You'd know that even playing with him, how much he's developed as a player. It's improved tremendously.
Yeah, he reminds me of Darius Boyd so much, Lance, because he can swing around the back, you know, with those sweeping plays, and then he can throw the long ball, or he's got that nice touch where he can go to the line and play a short ball. Or we all know how devastating his running game and his footwork is. So he's got so many options.
I thought Lance O'Haya last evening was particularly good with his footwork. Himself and Thomas Ruluai really carved the middle of the ruck up. However, I have a little bit of a question mark because next week it's going to be so different. I can already see it in my head. Darren Lockyer sending that big long kick down off your line, and Lance is going to have to work it off his line. You didn't get your line tested in terms of coming off your line, Perrott and dummy half, Nightingale following to get a ruck going in that match yesterday, and then you're going to have to find a kicking game yourself out of the 40-metre zone. Last night you were always in their half with your last play options. This week I'd imagine there's going to be plenty of long kicking and getting that structure right.
Yeah, well, that's the arm wrestle. You know, we're going to have to get into that arm wrestle and still do the simple things. We've still got to complete our sets and get to our kick. And then, you know, if we can kick and put the pressure back on them, make the Slaters come out of their own end and see if they can stick with us, because, you know, it's going to be a fantastic match. They're obviously strike players right across
I can hardly wait.
So.
Yeah, no, it is an exciting one. Don't forget, of course, we have that big one coming your way. That's the New England versus Papua New Guinea first, and then, of course, it's the Kiwis and the Kangaroos. Sam McKendrick on debut. Didn't he just create an enormous hole on their defensive line? How good was he?
Mate, he was fantastic on debut, and he set the tone with his first touch. That run there where he just, you know, bumped off 3 blokes and got over the ad line, and he's just a man mountain himself. He takes a lot of... you know, he gives us a lot of momentum, and that's what we need up front.
Lost a ton of weight in the off-season too, apparently. 12, 13 kgs, apparently.
Yeah,
You're trying to see where he lost it, right?
he's still a big boy, but yeah, you know, he carries it really well. He played, you know, pretty big minutes too last night.
Give us a scoop. I mean, he ran 150 metres on debut for sure, but give us his character. I mean, we don't really know a lot about him. Is he a quiet kid? Is he come up and give you a bit of verbal, or
he's
what?
Pretty quiet. He fancies himself with the poker.
Ah, yeah, truly, yeah. Card player.
Yeah, he likes to sell things as well, you know, like sells a bluff pretty well.
Bit like you, eh?
You'd be a good poker player, wouldn't you, Stephen?
Nah, I'm
He
useless.
can't bluff.
I'm useless with numbers. Yeah, and I'm useless with numbers. Let us move on. This is the last 40-20 for the year. Funnily enough, it's the last day of October, which makes us all pretty sad, but there's a lot of footy to come. This coming Wednesday, 9:30 on Sky Sport 2, the International Player of the Year Awards. We'll find out who is going to be crowned numero uno in the world of rugby. Player of the Year on Wednesday, Eden Park. Eden Park, I know. How good is that? First international footy, and what's it going to be? The great game of rugby league. The doubleheader coming your way this weekend. Have a look.
New Zealand are in. They come up with a try. Genius sound. Burgess standing onto the pass from Brown. Brown's away. Hot right chases. Here comes Winner. And he says, giddy up. Lockyer, that's right, and the time that Quickly, it's gone. Brown, a little bit of a show and go, and Burgess has conked it up.
Yes, that is what we would like to see. Was it Saturday, November 13th, the final? Saturday, November 13th? That is it. Yeah, I think that's what we would like to see at Sunday. What's not? Is it Suncorp? It is Suncorp Stadium, is it?
I'm pretty sure.
It's pretty sure it is Suncorp Stadium. Let's talk about facing Australia. Do you go in now feeling like favourites? World champions, come on, stick it up them.
Look, I wouldn't. I'm confident. I'm very confident about what we can do. I know if we, from our 17 or our squad, if we can all go out there and do our jobs, I know we're going to give ourselves a really good opportunity of winning the game. But
that was such a politically correct answer. Come on,
Stephen. I think
that's the way it is, mate. That's the way professional sport is.
Oh,
you
just it doesn't have to be boring like that.
You've got to go and do your job, mate.
Yeah. The thing is that
you give me the stare.
You know you can beat them, though. You do know you can beat them now.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
We're not the little brother anymore.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, we did it in 2008. We should have beat them last year over in England and in London. But look, that's footy. We've got to get out. It means nothing now. The World Cup in 2008 is gone. It's a whole new tournament. We come together a few weeks ago to prepare for this Four Nations, and it's going to be a fantastic game at Eden Park. Hopefully 50,000 people there if we can sell it out, which would be fantastic, and really get behind us because we're going to need everyone's support.
I think New Zealand now stand in a position in the game, and rightly so, where they can concentrate on their own performance, and while they are aware of Australia and of Australia's strengths, they don't actually have to worry too much about it. And there's been times in years gone by where you've actually feared a little bit of what Australia can do, but they don't now. They more worry about their own performance, and if they know if they perform, they'll win.
And that was noticeable after the Wellington test. I think you spoke to Sean Kenny-Dowling. You asked him about the performance, and he said, it was about a 70% rating. I mean, just to hear that come out of a Kiwis team rather than say, oh, yeah, we got the asses kicked again, damn it, that was a really important step forward for me.
Still plenty to fear from Australia, though, without a doubt, isn't there? You just have a look at... I mean, we used to fear their back line, and now I look at their pack, and I think, no one wants Sam Thaiday running at you at full pelt. Do you focus a lot of your game for next Saturday night preparing on beating Australia? Do you gear up for what combinations they'll throw at you, or do you just look after your own game?
Yeah, I think we'll just be looking after our own backyard and just concentrate on what we're doing. Obviously, we're going to have to do a lot of video with what they do tonight. Should be a cracker tonight.
Yeah, that is coming up shortly. Don't forget we have
live.
You do want this job.
You're good at your job.
Sky Sport 2. Sky Sport 2. Say it. Sky Sport 2, home of the great game.
Sky Sport 2, live of...
Home of the great game.
You're back down to 9.
You've had a mayor already, and you want the job. We'll see about the audition's going fine. Let's just quickly have a reminder of the Four Nations results and tables and all that palaver. It's the last show, so you can get a little loose. Come on, Scotty. Scotty's our director. Good bloke too, I can tell you. There are the results so far. Kiwis 24, England 10, Kangaroos 42, Papua New Guinea zip, and the Kiwis 76, Papua New Guinea 12. Can you see the? Oh, yeah, 2 points. There's the points table. Okay, we're at the top at the moment. That's the most important thing. Are the Poms even a hope of upsetting the Kangaroos, do you think? Because they've actually 11 changes, 3 new faces, and they've stacked the big boys up front this time.
Yeah, look, they've got a big forward pack, and you can't discount any side with Burgess and Ellis in it. And I think if they can lay their platform, they've got the strike power out wide to score some points as well. But look, I think they'll be better for their run last week against us, and I've been watching a bit of the news and stuff and seeing young Sam Tompkins talking their chances up, so it should be a ripper.
He talks a lot, Sam, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's a bit of a bit lippy on the field too, which is good. I love it.
Do you?
It's great.
Total change for England in this game, and I feel Australia sort of had the preferable draw. They played Papua New Guinea in their first hit out. They step up against England now, and the competition gets harder and harder, and then they get to Australia, where for New Zealand they had the crunch game against England first up, and that was a little bit of a do or die because you're behind the 8 ball. Their change with O'Loughlin into 5'8", where last week their halves pretty much were found wanting, should provide a little bit of stability and defence for them, and might allow someone like Burgess or Ellis to actually run.
Well, let's have a look at the English team list. So let's just check out the team list and see how it shakes down. This is the England side. 11 changes in total, 3 new faces. They've brought on these Huddersfield Giants. Leroy Cujo, Sean Lunt wins his first cap off the interchange bench alongside Warrington, Wolves forward Ben Harrison. But they put Sam Tompkins at fullback. He was playing close to the ruck, and Steve-O said last week he plays there for Wigan. He'll be much more effective at fullback for the English side. Fielden, he was ordinary by, I think, his own standards last week.
Where was Crabtree last week? He should have played
last week. He's a big mongrel. He'll come off the bench and he'll certainly have a crack.
He's got the loveliest hair in
He has lovely hair.
He does.
Flowing golden locks.
Did you just say he's got the lovely?
He does have lovely hair, Nathan.
What do you like about his hair? Is it the texture, the soft, the glisten, the shine?
Flowing.
Yeah, it's flowing locks.
Yeah.
It looks like, what's that? something.
I don't
Not
enter these conversations.
I can't believe, I can't believe you just...
Yeah, I'm on my way, though.
I can't believe you went down that path. But look, are they a chance? Are they honestly a chance with that side that they've named?
I think they looked a lot better when they moved Tompkins to fullback last week. Yeah, I don't know. He just looked a bit more dangerous, floating around instead of being the ball player with everything coming off him. So I think you know, that particular selection might benefit their team.
Wounded pride is probably their best chance. They've been totally written off by all the judges in the rugby league world down under here.
Even Henry gave them the serve today.
And they've had question marks about never ever winning anything. So wounded pride for a POM. Yeah. How's it going to respond? We might get an answer today.
Yeah, for any footy side, when your back's up against the wall and you know you want to go out there and prove people wrong, so that's when you can.
It's pretty wet. It's pretty wet. The Melbourne races were wet yesterday. It'll be teaming down.
Just before we move on to the Australian team, the English competition, the Super League, something that may tempt you in the future or tempted you in the past?
I considered going over before I signed my deal with St George, but. Yeah, it sort of all fell through. Look, I'm sort of open to anything.
Broadcast
at this
job.
Stage. Yeah, I'd love to be.
Job. Yeah, here we go.
A commentator or correspondent. Yeah, presenter
Presenter/journalist, media personality. There you go. We need to lead media personalities. Let's have a look at the Australian team list. And this is the one unchanged from last week, which surprised a number of us considering Watmo and Brent Tate both got pummeled. There it is: Slater, Morris, Tate, Tonga, Tukiri, Lockyer, Cronk, Sivanaseva, Smith, Miles, Lewis, Thaiday and Gallen, Shillington, Leroy, Lars, Watmo and Gilly. You're actually supposed to say Tungiri. That's the actual correct pronunciation. It's Tungiri because he's Fijian, but we never do. But I just thought I'd throw that one out.
I'm surprised there's no changes to this side. Darius Boyd for sure.
What were you just talking about, man?
Did you throw it out?
Someone's name.
What was that?
It's the correct pronunciation. The correct pronunciation. Sorry,
what
Trick,
is that?
You got carved off by the new media personality.
Sorry, mate.
Lottie, it's supposed to be Lottie Tungiri. That's his Fijian. That's the correct pronunciation of his name.
I'm sure you've heard that before, Nathan, haven't you?
No,
well, if you want the job, you're going to have to learn these things.
Oh, a bit of research, a bit of background.
There you go,
knowledge.
you see,
yeah,
mate.
Rightio.
First time in 20 years I've thrown it out, though.
Give me 5. Yes. There we go. So, I'm happy to go over Fiji and do any research that needs to be done. I'm happy to do it.
You're a committed man.
You might get in a minute.
Yeah,
there you go, mate.
Do you want to breathe?
take it away, Chuck.
No, I'm done now.
Okay.
No, you're back on the Australian team.
Darius Boyd, a bit of a different character. Wasn't Clive Churchill medalist. Not selected at game 1, not selected game 2. You know him better than most. How'd he be feeling?
I think he'd be pretty disappointed, but you know, he's like you say, he's a funny bloke, and he'll deal with it in his own way, and he'll be training hard. I know that he loves the solarium and the tanning up and the beach weights.
He had a spectacular start to the NRL, didn't he? The opening half of the season. It did taper off slightly towards the end of the year. Was that to any reason, do you know? Or?
Look, I think around Origin time, those boys that are playing representative footy play a lot of footy at that time, and it can take a lot out of you, because he was involved in, obviously, the whitewash that Queensland were involved in.
Because you've won a State of Origin series before, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I
did win the series.
Yeah,
well, that's the award I forgot to credit you with, was it? Playing for Queensland as well.
2001, one game. We lost though. Freddie Fittler scored twice that night. He was outstanding.
Hey, tell me, speaking of Origin, it looks like Ricky Stewart's going to be the full-time Origin coach.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is. I did
research. That's interesting. I hadn't heard that.
You heard it here first.
Do you want to carry on?
No, sorry.
No, I was attempting to say, do you think that'll make a difference to New South Wales' chances next year, you little...
Oh, look, to be quite honest, I don't really care about New South Wales at all. Yeah, I like them getting beaten.
It's like having a mini Costa here. Don't care about them.
Yeah, well, that's true. Like,
do you reckon it'd be good
I care about the black V now.
Do you reckon
the black V, New Zealand.
Would it be good to have a State of Origin match in New Zealand? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
That'd be cool as
well.
it
would be.
No,
you don't reckon?
No, I think that's wrong.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Well, I'll tell you what. If I have a moment to sneak in here, it's because I think it's uniquely Australian State of Origin. I don't think there's any place for New Zealand to be involved.
But they play in Melbourne, like New South Wales,
Australia.
Queensland.
It's still Australia. For me, it's not a very good argument, I know, but I just think it's uniquely Australian. Should be Australian.
Well, I think having a look yesterday at the fans in Rotorua, and I was slightly disappointed at the fan base that turned up. And when you take a look at the fan base that turns up in Australia, I think it wouldn't hurt to promote the game more here in New Zealand. And if it means bringing a State of Origin game to New Zealand where the fans can experience that, New South Wales versus Queensland, the pinnacle of rugby league at this stage, maybe it's something worth investigating. I'm not saying it's better than a test match, but I'm saying if there was a State of Origin game in New Zealand, I'd go watch it for sure.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt you wouldn't go watch it. I just don't think it needs to be outside of Australia.
They played one over in Los Angeles somewhere in the 80s, didn't
They did.
That worked.
That's the amount of your. That's the amount of your. I cannot. You know, it's the last show, don't you? Hey, by the way, if you want a good coffee in Rotorua, go to Obsess. If we're going to fill a little bit of time, Obsess in the West End New World. It's a very, very good place to get coffee. There's a lady called Greta makes coffee, and she made a very nice. I won't tell you what I had, but a very nice latte. She did indeed. So carry on.
Are we still filling time?
No, we're not filling time.
I've actually got a decent question for Nathan Feen. We talked about it before, the Clive Churchill Medal. I know Darius Boyd won it this year. I was a big supporter of Jeremy Smith to get it. I actually thought he was heads and shoulders above it. No Kiwi has won the medal.
Surprise, surprise.
Do you think there's a political bias against us Kiwis winning?
Jump on that.
Well, yeah, and Jason Nightingale, you could, put your hands up for him as well on the night.
Yeah.
But, I think Darius, he even said it himself when he collected the award. He was a little bit embarrassed to, get it, but he was still very honoured to receive the award. So, because there were so many standout performers on that day as well. Any number of players could have got it from our side. But, hey, we were all happy just to get the premiership. Got the ring.
That you are. The next time we see you, we'd like to actually see the ring, because I've always wanted to look up close and see what a premiership ring looks like.
Me too. I was looking forward to seeing
It's
that.
very cool. The best of luck against the Kangaroos on Saturday Eden Park in that doubleheader, mates. And thanks for coming on the very last 40-20 for 2010. It's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Won't be your last. Won't be your
so.
last 40-20.
Hopefully I'll be back.
You will be back.
I really enjoyed myself. Can I just say, firstly...
Run out of time.
Lastly,
5 seconds.
OK, big congratulations to Lance O'Hara and Marissa, who've just got engaged last night.
Well done, Lance.
Congratulations.
All right.
Great stuff.
We are done. Chook, Nathan.
You're naughty.
Red V, pleasure as always, beautiful as always. We'll see you in 2011. And to all of you out there that have made us the #1 footy show all year, thank you. 2011, believe it or not too far away. Take it easy. Footy next.